India is a very big country. India has at least, I think, 28 states. Each state has a different geographical region. Could be near the ocean, near the Arabian Sea or the Indian Ocean, or they could be 50 miles inside where they can't get any seafood. So everybody cooks very, very differently. What we in America see of Indian food is a very minute portion of what Indian food is. It's so vast. I don't even know half of what it is, and people consider me an expert. I grew up in Bombay, which was a cosmopolitan city. We had the Indian influence, the Portuguese influence, and the English influence. So my cuisine has all those influences. So I always thought, why weren't chefs taking this great cuisine, which is Indian cuisine, and a great French cuisine or Italian cuisine or English cuisine, and melding the two together in a very sensible way? I follow the rules of both cuisines. I don't put anything in there to be cute or for shock value, because Indian cuisine is many, many years old, and they put things in for a reason. You know, spices are used to enhance flavor of food because they have health benefits. You have to cook the spices. You could have ground spices or whole spices. It makes a difference if the spices are fresh. I never buy ground spices. Actually, let me correct that. I do buy 2 ground spices. One is turmeric, and the second is cayenne. Everything else I grind fresh. I have a small coffee grinder at home, and I grind spices all the time.
Thank you for your help.
So the dish I'm making today was a dish that I made on Top Chef Masters. It was a recipe that many people asked me for, and I was kind of surprised because it was a very simple dish. I did a dish called upma. Upma was a dish that my family would make when we came home from school, which is basically semolina with a few spices and sometimes carrots and cilantro, and then you'd eat it as a snack for tea. But I thought that was too simple, and you know, most people would not get it. So what I did was I made it like a polenta. I'm going to bloom some mustard seeds and some cumin. And on this pan here, I'm going to start roasting some mushrooms. And you want the spices to sizzle a little bit. I love using canola oil in anything I'm cooking, only because it's neutral, it's good for you, it doesn't have a high smoke point. When you're doing spices, you don't need to get too hot because you'll burn the spices. So it just starts shimmering and you get this wonderful aroma. And I'm going to add some shallots and ginger in there. And then I'm going to add my semolina, which I've toasted in a little bit of oil. And I have a mix of mushrooms over here. I have oysters, I have hen of the woods, I have cinnamon caps, I have some blue oysters, some king oysters, and you can use whatever mushrooms you can get. And the king oyster looks like this, and I discovered these mushrooms are actually pretty cool because you can put spices in them and you can grill them, and they turn out really, really good. Now I believe that when you make food, you should always have a bunch of flavors happening in the dish. You know, I'm going to add a little bit of chilies to this just for heat, a little bit of shallots and ginger to this too. You know, I can never cook out of recipes. I find it very hard to recreate something I've done in the past too. You know, for me, it's about the enjoyment of the process of cutting something, of making the whole dish come together. Add a little bit of cilantro in both, and I like to keep this a little bit of little soupy. This doesn't look anything like upma that is made in India. For those Indians in the group who've seen this, this looks nothing like it. And that's it. It's one of the easiest things to make. Every time I cook, I always go back to a place in my life because that's where my inspirations come from. I don't think from my head. Most of my food comes from my heart and my soul. So any dish I create has some connection. So if I'm making a piece of fish, I think of my father. If I'm doing a piece of pork, I think of my grandmother. So that's where these memories of me growing up in India help me do what I'm doing.
And that's what drives me. You know, food brings a very important part of culture in life. And I believe that food ties people together. It ties people together.